Hello, my name is Ismael Carvajal, and this is my informative speech. It is about segregation and the Jim Crow laws. Today, I will be talking about the segregation and the Jim Crow laws during the 1800s. There were types of dances that they did use to mimic and shame the blacks during the 1800s. I will talk about Thomas Dartmouth. He was known for the nickname of Jim Crow, or Jim Cuff actually, and then later it turned into Jim Crow, thus the name Jim Crow laws. And also John Durang. He was the first performer to do a blackface performance. During the 1800s, slavery was very big, and in order for the white people to get any source of entertainment, they did performances such as it was called the Blackface Minstrel, and during that show, they had white people painted their face black, and they kept their mouth area white to mimic the big lips that most African Americans had. And during those shows, they would just perform to the higher white people in those areas. In a book of dance appreciation, they talk about John Durang, and he is described as the first person who actually painted his face black to perform these kind of dances. And he was one who started the blackface minstrel type of shows. As well, in PBS.org, they talk about Jim Crow laws and how it talked about the segregation between the blacks and the whites, and about the public transportations of how everything was separated during those times. Many factors like this do actually happen in today's real world. Slavery may be abolished, but the acts of slavery and the public, how they perceive it, is still out there. Thomas Dartmouth was known and famous for his character that it was. They actually gave him a nickname. It was called Jim Cuff, and they would make him jump, so they would also name him Jump Jim Cuff, and later that turned into Jump Jim Crow. And because they used him as a performer, and they shamed him during those times. Jim Crow, of course, is used as a segregation law. They talked about the separation between the blacks and the whites during those times. And on another website from history.com, they do also talk about the Civil War and how slavery slavery was abolished, but the acts and the performance and the torment to the African Americans was still there. And even through music and dance, which is something that they really did enjoy, they were not able to escape because the white people will still shame them as they enjoy the blackface dances. Even today, in this real world, some people in the African community do find this very offensive, even though this did happen during the 1800s. some African Americans actually did perform because they needed the money and they had to do their dues in order to pay for their own food. There was a couple of